I wanted to give a bit more of a narrative as to my play session with Michael this past week. Because the video cut out at about 7 minutes, I have a few more things to add to the rest of our session. Our session went on for 30 minutes, and at the point that the video cut off, Michael started to talk about the one character that he created, which was Zach. And later, at the end of the session, Michael told me that Zach personified himself in his own words. So it took about 20 minutes to get there, but the story was in an imaginative way about himself. Also, during the session, what started to happen was Michael originally created Zach, as you could see in the video. And then after that, he started to create other Play-Doh creatures just to the right of Zach. The first creature that he created was a spy, and this was to be part of an army. And what was interesting was that Zach wore different colored clothes than the spy. So Zach was in a white top and black pants, but the spy was in black shirt and black pants. And I inquired about that just because I thought it was different. Also, Zach had different colored eyes than the spy, so I also asked about that as well. Zach said that is just the way that a spy is. That's how a spy looks, whereas Zach as himself was in that white shirt and black pants. And then next to the spy, Michael was creating them just standing right next to each other, the rest of these characters. So next to the spy was an army man, and he was just a generic army man. And these spies and army men didn't have any names. And as Michael was creating these beings, he was pretty pleased with himself. He started to light up and have a smile on his face. At first he was apprehensive, but he figured out that he was starting to create a world of his own, just like I had asked him. I noticed him throughout the video looking at me quite a bit, or throughout the session looking at me quite a bit for approval. I think that stemmed from him not knowing me very well, and also me giving a vague description of what he could do. It seemed like he was used to structured activities, so the fact that I told him to just create a story might have been a bit unsettling to him. I thought it was interesting how he would look to me for approval after he created like an army man or a spy. And I acknowledged that in the later parts of the session. I said, oh, that you wanted to look at me just to see what I thought about your spy. And he would smile after that. So there's some people-pleasing aspects to Michael and our time together. After the spy and the army men were created, there were 3 other spies and army men created to the right of Zach. And after he created those army men and spies, he said, you know what, Zach needs a crown. And I asked, oh, Zach needs a crown, huh? And Michael said, yeah, because he's the king. He's the one who runs the army men and the spies. So Zach created, or not Zach, Michael created a yellow crown to represent him as a king. And that was getting towards the end of our session. And that's when I just reflected, because I thought in my head perhaps that Zach the king was actually Michael personified. So I said, oh, that king, you know, that king has blue eyes and a white shirt and black pants. And Michael had said, yeah, he's got blue eyes just like me. And then he kind of sat and pondered for a second, and he said, Zach is just like me. And I thought that was a good closing time to our session. So what I did was reflected the army men and the spies that he created. And then I said, and Zach's a king. And Zach kind of looks like you. And we just kind of reflected on that. And I asked Michael if he wanted to add anything else to his story. And he said no, and I thanked him for our playtime that day. But I just wanted to add a little bit more about what Michael and I had shared and talked about, since I didn't get to completely finish the video due to technical difficulties. And you could definitely tell that Michael was a normative, easy to tell his feelings, and healthy developing young 6-year-old. So it was really nice to just spend time with him and practice some of my play therapy skills.